Hello, my most amazing artists. This week we're going to create some art inspired by the story The Dot by Peter Reynolds. In this story, he tells you to just make a mark and see where it takes you, and that's what we're going to do. So with our theme being circles and dots, we are going to use some of these materials to create our masterpiece today. I found a paper plate that I'm going to use to trace my circle. Try to find a large circle shape that you can also trace, or you can just make your circle as you can freehand. So step number one, using pencil, go ahead and trace your circle. You also want to have some scissors handy, maybe a ruler, maybe some colored paper. I have a glue stick and a Sharpie. Markers are totally optional. I kind of like my design black and white, but you might choose to color yours in. It's really up to you, you're the artist. Once you have your circle traced, you simply cut it out and end up with your circle. Now for the fun part. What you're going to do next is you are going to create your own design. Now, you can do it a couple of different ways. This circle, I created some lines that started in the center and kind of spiraled outwards, and I'll show you how I did that. But you could also simply just divide your circle into some unusual parts. So you can just take and split it, create just some varied spaces to work within. So that's one option. The other option is to start like I did. I didn't even put this in the center. Sometimes something a little off center creates more visual interest. So now for this one, I just kind of created some swirls that head out. I'm going to move this background paper because I don't want to write on it by accident. That, and then I kind of just went around my circle, starting smaller, getting wider. Here it's just kind of like making the letter V. Starting here, and maybe one more. All kind of a little different, but it gives you some areas to work within. Now you can also create that circle effect by going ahead and making some lines in between your lines that kind of create a circle when you're finished. And then you can continue to fill in. I made a couple of those, so I just kind of used the outside edge here, and you can even break it up just like that. So now you have lots of different spaces to create lots of different patterns. So now what you have to do is think about what kind of design element or patterns you want to include in your design. As you can see, this process can take a while, especially if you do lots of really small, intricate lines, but look at how cool it looks when you're finished. So take your time, think about what you want to use. Here's some design element ideas, plus some simple shapes and elements, something that you like to repeat, any kind of lines and shapes. I'm just doing some kind of tree, leaf, branch designs. You can kind of come up with your own ideas about how you want to fill the space. Just keep in mind that you really want to make sure that you add a lot of visual interest. So the more you put in the shape space, the more patterns and the more interesting designs, the cooler it's going to look. So you can see here, you're just going to go ahead and fill different designs in each one. So the next box, when I'm finished, maybe I decide to do some herringbone. Herringbone is this kind of pattern here. Sometimes you see it with brickwork or things like that. Looks pretty cool. So you start by going one way, then you switch it and just go the other direction. Kind of looks cool. Same thing, I'm going to go back in and now switch it and go the other direction. So you get the idea. You fill in each section with a different pattern. Same thing over here. I fill in each small section with a different type of pattern. Notice on my example that I even colored in some of the spaces using the Sharpie just to give it some interest as well. So if you are thinking of keeping your design black and white, you might want to consider doing some of that as well. Like I could, for example, color in my leaves. If I wanted to make this design colorful, that is certainly something you could do. Just again, remember to fill your spaces completely with your design first, and then you can go back and add color. I can't wait to see how your projects turn out. When they're done, you can always give your shape a frame or a background. So in this case, I have a piece of green paper. I'm going to take my circle, just kind of lay it on the center here so I can see how much space I need. Measure, it's about 9, so I want to go about the same across just to create that square. I'm going to go ahead and draw my line, cut, and glue. Now, if you don't have some of these materials, of course, you can think outside the box, use whatever you have to create your dot design. This is called Zentangling, when you take and you make different patterns within your one big picture. So I hope you have fun doing this. I enjoyed making mine. I can't wait to see yours, and let's keep on creating. Bye, friends.